Hello beautiful ladies, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be showing you how to get the perfect classic and conservative first date hair and makeup look and go from looking like this to this. Doing your makeup for a first date is actually really important because you want to make a good first impression, but you also want to show who you really are. And so you don't want to show a makeup look that's really intense or totally doesn't look like you. You want to look like you, but slightly better. So I'm really excited to show you how to achieve this look and to get hair that looks just slightly better than what yours normally looks like, and to do your makeup in a way that makes you look even more beautiful. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually start with my hair. So I'm just going to take out this bun, if I can. And we're just going to part our hair exactly where we want it to be parted. So I want my hair parted down the middle, and I'm going to actually put in dry shampoo. Even though my hair is clean, I'm gonna put dry shampoo in, just right at the roots, because that will give more longevity to my hair. If you put dry shampoo in actually before it gets oily, it'll absorb the oil before it even kind of gets oily. And I wanna keep this easy because who wants to take 2.5, 3 hours to get ready for a date? I mean, most of the time you don't have that much time, and even if you do you really wanna spend that whole time just getting ready? Not so much. So if we can keep it a little bit faster and still get it done, I think that's the best possible outcome. So I'll be using the Kristen S curling iron, and I think this is 1.25 inches, and I really like this curling iron. It's from Target. It's not too pricey, but it does a really good job and it holds a curl. So I'm just gonna start off by taking a random piece of hair, and I'm going to take my curling iron and I want to curl away from my face. So I'm going to put this about 2 inches from the bottom of my hair and then curl up. And then I'm going to uncurl it and slide it down the barrel. And that gives a really natural kind of beachy curl, and I really like the way that looks. So the reason I'm just doing it kind of randomly is because what you may find out is that you don't actually have to curl your entire head. You may end up finding that like the hair sort of blends together, which is easier because then you don't have to separate it and put it on top. And you also don't have to hold it very long on the barrel. You probably have to hold it less time than you might think. And what I also do is I might alternate curls. So I might do some away from my face and then some towards my face. So I'm gonna do this one towards my face, and I'm going to clamp it and just wind it up, hold it for maybe 3 seconds, and then I'm going to unwind it and slide it out of the barrel. And the sliding it out of the barrel will smooth the ends so it doesn't get a really intense curl on the bottom, but it just looks smoother and less frizzy or whatever it is. So the thing for me about doing your hair and makeup for a first date is that you really just want to look like yourself, but better. So I'm not trying to do like a really intense curl that's not even similar at all to my natural hair texture, because I'm not trying to look like someone that I'm not. I want to look like myself, just slightly more classic. And doing your hair and makeup in a way that just accentuates your natural beauty is the best thing to do for a first date, because you want him to see what you really look like, just slightly more elevated. So what's your favorite thing about first dates? Oh my gosh, first dates were always kind of fun, but also stressful, right? Like, what's he gonna be like? Oh my gosh, I'm with a stranger for a couple of hours and I don't know if we're gonna have anything in common. Or maybe it's someone you know. Hopefully it goes well. I don't wanna ruin a friendship, depending on the first date. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite first date activity is. Do you like going out to dinner? Do you like seeing a movie? Do you like going for a walk? I always liked going to dinner because I always felt like that's a way for us to actually get to know each other, and it wouldn't make it so we had to go on a second date to actually learn anything about each other. But I do like the idea of going to dinner and a movie, because if things are going well, then you have a shared experience from the first date, which is so awesome. The reason we do our hair first and not our makeup first is because I don't want my makeup to get messed up because I'm sweating. When you're using heat tools, your face can get a little bit overheated, and so you don't want to do all of your makeup and have it look really nice, and then you just have to redo everything because you got sweaty. So as you can see, I'm going through my hair pretty quickly. Like this isn't taking very long, especially because I'm just taking small sections from all around my head and I didn't section it off. Now I'm not against sectioning off my hair. Most of the time, if I want to take more time and be really a perfectionist about it, then I'll do that. But if I'm not trying to be a perfectionist, I'm probably not going to do that and I'm just going to leave it down and do it sort of messily. But I think it looks really nice and it moves pretty quickly. What's your most memorable first date? Do you have any good stories? If you do, leave them in the comments. I love hearing people's dating stories, and sometimes they can be so funny. So as you can see, this side of my hair is done, this side is not, but that really didn't take very long at all, and so now I'm just gonna do this side of my hair. So what was your first date like? If you have a significant other, what was your first date like with them? Did it go well right off the bat? Did you have a first date? Or was it more just like friends turning into a relationship? I am curious to know, because for me and my husband, we kind of never actually had a first date. We started talking and then it sort of very quickly turned into just us hanging out, which is funny. But we did go on one lunch that I sort of pretend is our first date, but I don't know that it actually was. If you guys want ideas for first date outfits, I was also thinking about doing a video about that because I think it sort of falls in the same category of looking like yourself but better and wanting to just dress really nicely but not overwhelmingly fancy or anything, just kind of looking pretty and feminine and accentuating your best features and all of that. So let me know in the comments if that's something you guys want to see. So another way you can do your hair for first dates is if you have more naturally straight hair, but it just has some waves in it, you can use a hair straightener and just straighten it completely. Or if you have really curly hair, but sometimes there are some like weird pieces that don't actually follow the wave pattern, or the curl pattern rather, you can just find a small curling iron and curl a few of those pieces that don't actually match your curl pattern. Or you don't have to use a heat tool at all. You can just take your natural texture. If you have like beautiful wavy natural texture, just make it look moisturized, put like a shine spray in it, and then make sure it doesn't look oily, but it will look gorgeous. I wish I had naturally like a normal wave pattern because I have really wavy hair on the bottom layer of my hair and then the top is straight. And it's just like, well, I can't just leave it like this. It looks crazy. But what you can see I'm sort of doing is I'll sort of just like curl randomly and it's more towards the front of my face, and then I'll pull the rest of my hair back and then just start sectioning off pieces and bringing it forward so that it is in a way sectioning, just much less intense of a process and it's a little bit easier. So how do you meet people most of the time? Do you meet them through apps or friends or school? Or how do you meet people? Because I went on a ton of first dates when I was in New York, and most of them I actually met through apps. I used Coffee Meets Bagel, J-Swipe. That's not how I met my husband. I met my husband through a mutual friend, but I was dating a lot through apps, and that was how I was meeting people, so it was very interesting. And actually my favorite app at the time was Coffee Meets Bagel because I felt like people actually had to write more of a bio than something like J-Swipe or Tinder. J-Swipe is the Jewish version of Tinder. It's just Jews on there and you swipe and you decide if you're gonna go out with people. I did meet people through that too, but I liked Coffee Meets Bagel better because you actually had to write more of a description most of the time. And I'll be honest, if you had a nice picture but you didn't have anything written in your description, I didn't accept that and I didn't go on a date with you because I wanted to know who you are, not just what you looked like. And just to finish this off, I'm going to curl my bangs. So I just curl them away from my face. And this one I kind of like slide off, so it lays with the rest of the curl. And I like it when they kind of like floof down, if that's a word, floof. And that's my hair curled. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna wait for these curls to cool down and set, because if you brush them out, then they're not going to hold the curl as well. And my hair has a hard time holding a curl. So I'm just going to wait for these curls to cool down And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray them just so that hopefully they hold better. So we're just going to go through and spray. And I'm going to put in some texturizing spray. So this is the OGX Dry Texture Finishing Spray, and I love this stuff. Oh my gosh, it smells really weird, so just maybe ignore that, but it does such a good job of texturizing the hair and giving it some extra hold. And I actually do put it near the roots and near the front of my hair. And I'm not gonna run my fingers through it yet and separate until it's cooled down. Okay guys, so now it's time to do the makeup, and I love this part, as you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to say before each step whether it's necessary or not, and you can decide whether you want to skip it or not. So I'm gonna be showing you all of the steps, and then you can decide whether or not you want to do all of the steps. You can skip some of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on primer. So I actually have 2 primers, very fancy, I know, probably overkill, but I can do it, so I will. But this is, again, an unnecessary step unless you want to really have longevity to your makeup, and it's good for creating a smooth base, but it's really not necessary. If you don't have primer, don't worry about it. If you do, go ahead and choose your favorite. I'm gonna be using my L'Oreal Infallible Matte Lock, which I've been really loving. It's been creating this really smooth base and helping keep my oil at bay. So I have combo skin. Some parts of my skin are really oily, some parts are really dry, and some parts are just normal. So I like this one. I think that this primer really kind of deals with it all. And I'm gonna tuck my hair behind my ears here. And I'm just going to smooth that on my face. Now, if you're looking for a pore filling primer, then you might like this one. This is the L'Oreal Magic Perfecting Base. It looks like this. I've had this for a long time. And I just take it on my nail and I put it on this part of my face, on my cheeks, because that's where I have my biggest pores, and I just smooth it out and it just creates this really smooth base. Step 2 is foundation. So this one is necessary, and I'm going to be using 2 foundations mixed together because the colors are a little off. This one's a little bit light for me and this one's a little bit dark for me. So this is the No. 7 Stay Perfect Foundation, and this is the Dream Urban Cover by Maybelline. Now I want to use a less full coverage foundation because I want my skin to look nice but not like skin, since we're looking to go a little bit more natural and just like your skin but better. So I'm just gonna mix these together, and I'm going to take a damp sponge and tap that in. And we're really just looking to even the skin tone. I don't wanna matte out everything, that's not my point. My point is just to even out any discoloration. I have a lot of redness on my skin, so this just kind of brings a nice evenness to my skin. Now, if you have freckles, don't cover them. Freckles are the cutest and they're so pretty, and that's not the point of foundation. The point of foundation isn't to just cover up your natural features. The point of foundation is, like I said, to even out your skin tone, so don't try and cover those up. So now that I'm all evened out, I'm going to go in with concealer. This, I would say, is a necessary step, but there's 2 parts to it. There's concealer for under the eyes and then concealer for any zits or acne or scars. So if you don't have zits or acne or scars, skip that part of the concealer. But if you want to cover up any dark eye circles, then I would keep that in this whole process. So I'm gonna start off with the eye circles. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury, I think it's called the Magic Eraser, and I'm using No. 1 Fair. And this is a color corrector, but I find that when I use this, I don't actually have to use an additional concealer on top. It doesn't look really pink on. It's very interesting. So I'm just going to take that on my finger and I'm going to tap that in the inner corner and underneath the eye so that I get a little bit of coverage, and it just kind of makes my eye circles go away. You can see there's definitely a difference when you look and compare. One has a little bit more purple and the other is a little bit more concealed. So before that creases, I'm actually going to take this little tiny sponge and I'm going to tap that out just to make sure there's no creases. And then I'm gonna go into my No. 7 powder and I'm going to tap the same sponge in and tap under the eye just to set that. Because I have a million little creases and they're always going to get creasy, so I can't stop it, but I can try my best to prevent it. That's the only place I'm going to powder because I'm going to be using creams for the rest of my face. I want this to look as natural as possible, so creams are really the way to do that. Now I'm gonna go into my Bowing Concealer from Benefit, and I'm just gonna take this brush here, and I'm gonna go over any spots I want a little bit more coverage because of acne or scars. Of course, that's not something I consider full coverage. Oh, you're covering up your skin. I mean, acne isn't super, it's not like it's part of your face. It's something that comes and goes. So you don't have to feel ashamed for covering up your acne, not at all. And I had to get really good at that when I had more problematic skin. And if you want, you can put a little bit around your nose because I get a lot of redness around your nose and that's pretty natural for women. Next up, I'm going to do my brows. So I'm just going to dip into the LA Girl Brow Pomade and I'm just going to fill this in like barely at all. I don't want to do something really intense for my eyebrows because I want my eyebrows to look mostly natural. And just to hold the brow hairs in place, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl Easy Breezy Brow just to cape those hairs where I want them. And for the brows, that's really up to you. If you have really full brows and you don't feel like you need pomade or anything to hold them in place, don't do it. If you feel like you need to fill them in more, go ahead and do that. This one is up to you. I'll leave brows to you. Now I'm going to put on blush. I would say this is a necessary step just so that when you put on foundation, it doesn't totally block out what your natural kind of flushed face looks like and make you look like you're not alive. So I'm going to put that on a little stippling brush. This is the Milani Cheek Kiss in Nude Flush. And I'm just gonna tap that on the back of my hand and then tap it on my cheeks. And you can see I'm pretty much stippling and swirling. The nice thing about this blush, this cream blush, is that it's pretty forgiving. So if you are putting on, you're not gonna put on too much. Pretty rarely will you do that. And if you do, you can always go in with your damp sponge and pat that out. That is totally fine. Just to soften things up. Next up is contouring or bronzing, depending on what kind of shade you're using. I think this is necessary because I think that your kind of natural curves and angles of your face can get tamped down when you put on foundation. So bringing a little bit of that back into your face makes it look more angular and gives it a little bit more shape. But it really depends on your preference. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. So I'm going to be taking the Wet n Wild dual-ended contour stick and I'm going to dip into it just with the brush. I'm actually going to just tap the top of this here. And then I'm going to dab it off on the back of my hand a little bit and then go in on my cheek and tap just right in the cheekbone area, underneath the cheekbone, and just around the forehead a little bit, just to bring some color back into the skin. And for me, I'm gonna do it down the sides of my nose. Now that we've done all of our cream products, we can go ahead and set it down. I'm going to use a No. 7 powder. Depending on the products that you're using, you may not need to set it down with powder, and also depending on your skin type. If you have dry skin, you probably don't need to set it down. But because I have combo, I'm going to set it and make sure it lasts. I want it to be long lasting because, hey, if the first date goes well, it might end up going longer than you expected. So it's always nice to make sure that your makeup is going to last throughout the date. So I would say it's necessary, but depending on your skin type, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Here's another optional step. I'm going to take a highlighter. This is the Essence Pure Nude, and just put it right on the tops of my cheekbones and down my nose. And I'm doing this just to add a little bit more kind of healthiness to the skin. And this is a very natural highlight, so it doesn't look like you're wearing highlight. It looks like your skin is kind of glowing from within. So it's not necessary, but it's kind of like a nice addition. And then this is, again, another nice addition, not necessary, putting on a setting spray. And I actually do this before I do my eye makeup because my eye makeup can sometimes get ruined or my mascara will run. So just doing this on kind of like the skin level will just melt everything together and make it look really natural. So I'm going to finish off with the eyes. I'm going to put on this Lorac Pro Rosé shade, and I'm just gonna use my finger to apply this. I think this is the prettiest shade, and it makes it look like you're wearing more than one eyeshadow. You don't have to go crazy with eyeshadow on a first date. You just want it to look like you put in a little bit of effort, and this can really just be enough, just like one shade that has a lot of dimension in it. And you can choose whatever shade kind of fits your skin tone. So for me, this is really pretty, but if you want to go with something that's like a little bit more taupey or something that's a little bit more silver, you totally can. Just use something that's subtle and not like really out there, but just is close-ish to your skin tone with like a hint of sparkle or shine or whatever it is. I'm just going to blend out the edges here. And then we just throw on some mascara. So I am going to curl my lashes and put on some mascara. I'm going to be using the Maybelline Falsies mascara, and I'm going to put that on. And then I'm going to put a little bit of mascara on my bottom lashes. And to finish off this look, I'm just going to put on a long-lasting lipstick that's super natural. So this is the Liquid Catsuit Wet n Wild lipstick in Give Me Mocha. I actually talked about this in my Ask Me Anything video, and oh my gosh, I love this lipstick. And as you can see, it's pretty natural. It's just myself, but a little bit better. And that is like the ideal thing for a classic conservative lady to wear on a first date. You really want him to get to know you. And so it should be you, but just slightly more classic and elevated and elegant. So I absolutely love this look, and I can't wait to see if you guys try it. Please tag me if you do. Let me know what your go-to makeup looks are, what your go-to first date makeup look is. I'd love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel and blog if you haven't already. Head over to my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook and follow me there. Hit that notification bell to get notified of all my new videos. Please hit that like button. Head over to classicallyabby.locals.com if you'd like to support my channel, see more of this content, and be part of our community. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!